Well, this here is the MG Gloster. It's a full-size, large-size, double XL size SUV. In fact, it's a car which will make the Ford Endeavour and the Toyota Fortuner look like mid-size SUVs out there on the road. It really is a massive-looking car. And that's not all. The other big quality of this car, of course, is the fact that it comes with the most powerful engine. It's got a 218 bhp engine. And it's also got the best-in-class features as well as safety kit to offer. And that really makes this car very special. And in fact, when you look at this car, you'll be reminded of the Mercedes GLS in terms of the size and the proportions, because it really does look very appealing on the outside. But the road presence, the looks, as well as the features isn't the only talking point. It really is a very solid SUV, and I'll sit inside it now and tell you about the features. But before that, let's quickly have a look around the car and explain what makes this MG Gloster such a special all-round package. Let's get trying to buy any spare part for your vehicle, you should check out budmo.com. You can also download the app. It's available for both Android as well as iOS devices. And the best point about Budmo is the fact that they offer you the most extensive spare parts catalog across all segments of cars. And another good point is that they offer you the same spare part from a host of different manufacturers, different component makers, which means that you get various pricings and price points, which means the flexibility in terms of pricing is greatly enhanced, and you can choose the spare part according to your budget. Well, so talking about the boot of the MG Gloster first, as you can see, it's a nice and deep boot with the last row down. It's also very flat, so you can easily load in those big boxes and take them out without any fuss whatsoever. If of course you have your mother-in-law coming in, then it should not be a problem to get her entire month's luggage in this car, because it really is a massive boot, and those airport transfers should not be an issue in the least. There's no loading sill also, which is a good thing. It's a little high set from the ground up, but that's okay, because this is, after all, at the end of the day, it is a big and large SUV, and it does have very good ground clearance. So in that sense, it is quite okay. Even if you pull up the last row of seats up, even then, let me just do it for you now. Even then, you can keep a couple of big bags over here. So if you have your entire tubber, what we say in Punjabi, if you have your entire tubber coming in, even then you have a couple of big bags to load in. There's plenty of place. And the best point is that it's a power tailgate, so you don't really have to use your hands too much and don't have to flex your muscles, because the car will do all the hard work for you. Now at the back end of the car, you get this ADAS sign, which means that this car comes with a lot of safety features and a lot of things which really does make it very posh and upmarket. There's a big Gloster badge over here. It's basically letters all thrown on the boot lid to make it stand out from a crowd of other SUVs, and of course the Internet Inside logo, which comes on all other MG cars, because this is of course a connected car in MG, who are one of the few first manufacturers, in fact, in India, who launched connected cars. The other big point, of course, behind is the fact that you get 1, 2, and 3, 4 exhaust pipes. Of course, chrome tip, because this car is all about the swag and about the chrome. And do they all work? Well, they definitely look very cool and make this car look very sharp and very dynamic on the road. If you move on to the side, I'll show you the side profile as well of the car. You can see the wheels are really large and very chunky. This is of course Continental tires that you get on this car, 255 section running on R19, which means 19-inch rims. And this is the perfect setup for this car, because it gives it a very good stance and a very balanced stance, and the car doesn't look under-tired, so that's something good. A lot of chrome on the side as well, and of course you get a board as well, a running board on the side, so that you can easily step inside and move out of the car. A little bit of chrome here and there as well. And the best point is, very subtle details, that this car, the MG brand, is a British brand, and you get this Union Jack over here to tell people MG's heritage. Of course it is a British brand, and that's why the Union Jack is on the car. In terms of the looks, on the front end, you get an all LED treatment for the headlamps, LEDs for the fog lamps, and a huge grille up front, and lots of chrome as well. So in terms of the ground presence, in terms of road presence, this car really looks very smashing, very stylish, and definitely looks very good when you compare it with some other cars out there which sell at about 30 to 40 lakh rupees. Overall, a job well done by MG in terms of looks, in terms of stance, and in terms of the quality of the car. Now let's jump inside the cabin and show you the features, because it is a long list of features, and this will take a long time to tell you exactly what this car has. Well, so here I'm inside the cabin of the MG Gloster now, and for this video, section or this front end section takes a little long, then please excuse me, because there's a lot of things to talk about. And the reason I'm holding my phone is so that I don't forget any of the features or the kit on this car. Now remember, this car comes with the ADAS system. ADAS basically means Advanced Driver Assistance System, and as part of that kit you get adaptive cruise control. Now adaptive cruise control basically means that this car has sensors as well as cameras in the front, which will gauge how fast the car in front of you is going or how slow it is going, and then accordingly it will brake and slow down speeds for you. You don't have to do it. So that's something which gives you a sense of safety. It's a safety feature. And of course, if the speeds increase of the car in front of you, then this car will also pick up its speed. And this is of course autonomous level 1 of driving. It's an autonomous car in that sense. It's not a completely driverless car, but it gives you a sense of what driverless cars could be all about in the time to come in India. You also get emergency braking. You also get automatic park assist, which means that this car will automatically figure out if you're driving parallel, or even if you have perpendicular parking somewhere, it'll figure out how far the other car is and how much space this car needs to park in, and do it automatically for you. The other thing you of course get is lane departure warning, as well as blind spot detection. So in case there's a bike or a car or anything in your blind spot of the mirror, then this car will automatically tell you that there's something there. You don't have to do this and just check to be double sure. And apart from that, of course, remember this car comes with 4-wheel drive and an intelligent all-terrain system, which means that you can choose the systems from here. You can choose snow, mud, sand, rock, sport and eco, and you can just move around the swivel wheel and the car will automatically change the traction according to what surface you're driving upon. So that's a very nifty touch as well. You get auto hold, and you also get electric park brake over here. The handbrake is electrically adjusted, and that is the long list of safety kit, and that's the list which I thought is important. There's also a host of other things. You get 6 airbags, a lot of traction control and other stuff, but these were the ones which I thought of telling you about. You also of course get hill descent assist, which is also something very unique on this car, and of course because it is a 4x4 car, you get the 4x4 system as well. Of course, the front seats are heated as well as cooled, and they're very good to sit in, very comfortable, very luxurious. A huge touchscreen, and it's a nice touchscreen to use. It's one of the best in the business. The legibility is good. It's easy to operate. You of course get Apple's CarPlay, Android Auto. The Ghana app is there. Map My India maps are there. So really all the bells and whistles, and of course the sound system on this car is very good. It really does have a meaty note to it. The bass is good, very clear, and all the notes are generous as well. And talking about the other big feature, of course, you get a panoramic sunroof, which also makes you feel like you're sitting in a very luxurious and upmarket car, which this car really is. In terms of the quality, it's all very good, very generous materials. And before I forget, let me just tell you that this leather is man-made leather, because a lot of people say, I don't want a car which has leather in it. I want maybe fake leather or upholstery which is of cloth. So this is man-made leather, because MG's told us that, so I thought I should share it with you. In terms of looks of the gauges, they look nice and clean, and it's a nice design. It's a modern cabin. Paddle shifters here because it's an automatic, 8-speed automatic that is, and paddle shifters to give you a sense of control over the gear shift. Overall, in terms of ambience, in terms of the feel-good factor, in terms of the luxurious feel, I'll give the front end of the MG Gloster a strong score of 10 out of 10. Now let's jump in the back and see how good the back seat really is. Well, so now here I'm in the second row of the MG Gloster, and I've adjusted the front seat for my height and drawing position, and my height for reference is 5'10". So if you have a chauffeur who's about 5'10" or 5'11", you should be happy in these seats. In terms of space, it's more than sufficient, massive space. Headroom also is massive. The seats themselves are very generous in terms of comfort. The support for your under thighs is good. Support for your lower back is very good. And the floorboard is completely flat, so you can easily stretch out your feet over here. Not an issue at all. Your own controls for the AC, and this little thing over here opens up, and of course you get a 12-volt charging point, a USB charger, and you can shut it off as well. And there's a little bit of place over here where you can keep your sunglasses and stuff like that. The windows are very big, huge windows, so you never feel claustrophobic. You also get a grab rail over here. You also get a handle over here where you can, of course, just hold on and feel like the boss. Panoramic sunroof, so again, you never feel claustrophobic. And in general, the ambience inside is very good. You can also move these seats forward if there's a tall person in the back, and of course if there's no one there, you can do this. And if you're in the mood to just go off to sleep, you can just do this, and the seat reclines all the way back, and just sleep off and head off to that long distance journey on the highway. The seats are as good as any business class seats on an airliner. And of course, I haven't traveled in a long time, so even if you haven't traveled and you want to get a sense of how a business class travel is, then definitely sit in the back row of the Gloster. 10 out of 10 from my side to the Gloster's second row seats. Let's jump in the last row and see how good those really are. Well, so when you're sitting over here in the last row of seats, it'll feel like the driver and the passenger in the front is in another pin code. It really is a huge car, and it feels that when you sit here in the last row of seats. Now, talking about the seats themselves, in terms of the overall comfort, they're very good, very generous seats. The cushioning is good, the padding for the lower back is good, and the general ambience also is very good because you get huge windows, so you never feel claustrophobic. You also get water bottle holders over here, which adds to the sense of practicality. AC vents, which is of course standard across all cars which offer you seats in the last row. And these seats haven't been moved since I jumped in the last row from the middle row, so don't think that I've moved them around and we're staging this. Genuinely, it's a good car in terms of legroom, in terms of headroom, and the overall ambience inside the cabin. In terms of the comfort, the space, and overall ambience, 10 out of 10 even to the last row of seats, and a very impressive job by MG Motors in terms of the space and the space management of the MG Gloster. Well, so here I am driving the MG Gloster now. We've already seen that the Gloster is nice to sit in, it's spacious to sit in, it comes loaded with a lot of features and tech. But how is the car to drive? And I have some good news for you, and that good news is that this is a very good car to drive as well. Now this car, remember, comes with a 2-litre twin-turbo diesel engine, and it makes about 218 bhp of power and about 480 Nm of torque, which makes it a very powerful car. In fact, the most powerful car amongst its peers. And the power is not the only thing. The other thing which really does make it very good is the refinement levels. As soon as you start off this car, you'll really not be able to tell if it's a diesel or petrol powering. It's so silent. In fact, when you're cruising on the highway, you're using the car in its top gear and doing speeds of about, let's say, 80 or 90 kph, which are legal speeds on most highways. The engine is spinning at a very low RPM of 1800, 1900 RPM, which makes the cabin very quiet, and the occupants in the back won't be able to tell if it's a diesel or a petrol powering it. In fact, even when you're standing at a signal, at a red light, you won't be able to tell if the engine is on or off. Refinement levels are so good, and I'm not exaggerating at the moment. This is the truth, and if you check this car out at a dealership near you, I'm sure you'll agree with me on this part. Now, what buyers will also like about this car is the excellent ride comfort. This car just floats around. The ride comfort is so good, it feels like you're moving this car on a cushion of air or maybe a cloud, because the comfort is so good. It's only the sharpest of sharp crevices or those badly passive roads which might just filter into the cabin, but apart from that, nothing managed to trouble this car. The suspension is on the softer side, which means that if you push this car into corners, which is something that most buyers don't do, but I'm just telling you because it's there. Because if you push this car into corners, then there is a lot of body roll, and you'll have to think of that. But the grip levels is very good from the tires, because these are wide section tires, so the grip level is very good. The braking is excellent, and overall the ride comfort is quite good. Even at faster speeds, the ride is quite good. The cabin isolation is something which MG really has done a good job with, and there's no wind noise, there's no tire noise, the engine noise is not there in the least. So when you're doing speeds of say about 100 kph out there on the highway, you won't be able to know it also, and you might be fooled into thinking that you're doing speeds of about 60 or 70, because as I just said, the overall engine and noise is well under control. Because I just said the engine noise is well under control, and you have to be very careful with the gauges, and you have to keep an eye out on the gauges, because before you know it, you might be doing speeds which are illegal on most highways, and that could mean that the authorities catch you and challan you. So you have to be very careful with this car and the speedometer, because it does mask its speed really very well. Well, this is an 8-speed gearbox. It's an automatic gearbox, but you can shift gears manually using these pedal shifters behind the steering wheel. And it's a quick responding gearbox, not a slow-weighted gearbox. So if you use it in full auto mode, the gears shift very smoothly and very efficiently, both up and down. And if you need that quick burst of power, then you can just press the accelerator pedal hard, and the gears shift immediately. It's just a matter of milliseconds. Even if you use it manually and do this, the gears do shift very quickly. So there's no lag between the time you hit the pedal over here behind the steering wheel and when the gears actually shift, unlike a lot of other cars where sometimes it can take a second or two before the gearbox decide to respond to your input. And overall, It's an excellent package in terms of refinement, in terms of performance, in terms of ride comfort, and I really don't have any reasons to complain about this car and its performance. So in the performance department alone, this car deserves a double thumbs up from my side and a strong score of 9 out of 10. Well, so overall, the MG Gloster really does hit the ball out of the park for a big six, and not without reason. This car comes with the best in segment safety kit, the best in segment features. The cabin feels very luxurious, and honestly, this car doesn't really rival anyone. This car is in its own league. It's a fantastic product, and if you're on the market for a large size luxury SUV and you have this kind of budget with you, then I reckon that the Gloster is a car that you should check out and definitely go ahead and take a test drive at a MG dealership near you. Overall, a very impressive car, and I'll give it a strong score of 92 out of 100. It's bye for now, and thanks for watching.